welcome back to 4F Beauty. When will I be YouTube famous? I don't know, probably never. However, what I do know, and no doubt you know now because you've seen the thumbnail and you've read the title, is that I have a confession to make. I broke my low-buy rules. I really broke my low-buy rules. I blame Brexit. I blame a lot of things on Brexit. But this genuinely is... it's the only reason that I made the order that I did from a German retailer. And unfortunately, because I was having a very, very bad pain day at the time, that also triggered me to make an order from the Revolution website as well. So, I hang my head in shame. I beg your forgiveness that I have broken my low-buy. And it's only March, it's only the 3rd month of my low-buy, and I have already broken the rules. So, if you want to find out exactly how I broke the rules, why I broke the rules, what I bought, and what I've used to create this eye look, then my friend, you are in exactly the right place. Get comfortable, put your feet up, please put your forgiveness hat on, and here it comes. Hey! Welcome back from the intro. I have got a top on, by the way. I tend to wear very loose-necked tops because of if I spill makeup down them, it doesn't matter because it's not what I'm going to wear out of the house, and it's easy to take off without disrupting makeup. That's why you usually see the same variety of tops. You will have seen from the intro and from the title, Brexit broke my low-buy. Basically, I'm in the UK, and since we joined the EU in 1973, we've been allowed to buy stuff from other countries within the European Union without paying tax on arrival, which has been fantastic. Particularly for companies like BH Cosmetics, for example, that have got a German site, so I can order it from there. Because until they arrived on Beauty Bay, I was having to order it from America. If Brexit actually happens on the 29th of March, to be honest, none of us really know what's happening with Brexit at the moment. The Prime Minister keeps putting bills forward and the government keeps rejecting them. At the moment, we're looking like we're heading for a no-deal Brexit, which... turns out the whole referendum isn't legally binding anyway. The government could just say, do you know what, stuff this, we're staying in the EU. You want us to stay? The majority of people who voted out are now saying, actually, now we know how much trouble it's going to cause, we'd rather stay in. But hey ho. So, there are some products that I use on a regular basis, which have become new favourites of mine. But the only place I've found them so far is a German website. So, 2 o'clock in the morning, kept awake by insomnia, I did a little bit of shopping. Completely my low buy rules out the window. You know, my low buy was I can replace what I've used and I can buy one palette, one foundation a month. Yeah, didn't happen. Because as a knee-jerk reaction to doing a mini haul on the German site, when I checked the emails to make sure that the payment had gone through okay, because it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you never know. Sometimes PayPal, your bank goes, hang on a minute, who on earth is making payments at 2 in the morning? But now my bank, I think, have kind of got used to me doing that. And then I saw some information in my inbox from Revolution, and I kind of went and made an order there as well. So I just completely blown my low buy this month. Let me show you what I bought from the German site. This is, I get the Birchbox subscription box, and this is my backup drawer. In here at the moment I've got another Barry M, That's How I Roll, because it was buy one get one free. I've got another 2 of these L'Oreal brow pencils, and I've got 3 little mini primers that came in the Birchbox. The Paul and Joe, that I've already got one of those started. Smashbox, but I've already got one of those started. And the Becca First Light, but I've already got one of those started. So I've kept them in here because they'd be quite useful. I tend to keep these sort of size ones for travel because they're ideal. So that's the drawer that these items will be making their way into. So to start off with, 3 more mascaras, all exactly the same mascara, all Catrice Glamandol Volume Mascara in waterproof. Now, Nikki Raven got me started on this. To prove my point, here's the one I'm using at the moment. It is a bang-on dupe for Benefit Bad Gal Bang, but it's cheaper and it's waterproof, because one of the problems with fibro, which is one of the chronic illnesses that I have, is that my eyes water all year round as if I've got hay fever. So I do tend to err on the side of waterproof mascara, but I loved what Benefit Bad Gal Bang did to my lashes. That Catrice one does the same thing. Now, I also picked up, see, I got 3 here that I bought, and here's the one I'm using at the moment. This is the Catrice Slimatic Ultra Precise Brow Pencil Waterproof 1.5mm. I really hope my camera is focusing on that for you. Again, fell in love with that. Although I've got the L'Oreal ones as backup, these are awesome. By far my new favourites. Obviously, I'm going to get around to using the L'Oreal ones, but I tend to use those for during the day. If I'm filming or if I'm doing a look to go out, then I'll use these. So, and because a mascara usually lasts me about 3 months, so I figured I've got that one, which I've had for about a month now, and these 3, that should keep me going for almost a year. I have no idea how long these pencils will last, so I got 3 of those as well, just because, well, in my OCD brain that kind of made sense. And then I kind of, well, I saw Nikki use this one, and I fell in love with it. This is the Essence Salut Paris. Let me take the plastic off. I have swatched these, but I left the plastic on just to keep them. If I bring it back here now, these 2 here do look super similar. I don't know if it'll show up better in the reflection, but they are actually a different colour. I know it doesn't look like it. maybe that shows you that it's ever so slightly a different colour. You see that one's slightly deeper than this one. I think this one here, the second one, has got a slight green shift to it, but I mean ever so slight. That's the first one, that's the second one. So if I tilt my hand like that, you can see that's just ever so slightly brighter. Sorry, I've still hay fever is starting, either that or it's a cold, or I don't know. Hence why I keep having a drink. So I picked up the Salut Paris, and while I was on there, I spotted this one. And this one just screamed my name. Look at those colours. Isn't that just me all over? So yeah, I picked that up as well. And I messaged Nikki and told her what I'd done, and she went, oh, funny enough, I just picked that one up as well. So that was my purchase from the German website, and then I went on to Revolution because I got the purchasing bug, hadn't I? And they got these new energising essence sprays. So I picked up the caffeine one with citrus extract. Oh, hang on, that's the husband calling. Hang on a minute. Sorry about that. As I was saying, there are 5 different ones of these. You got this caffeine one, infused with citrus lemon oil, which delivers an invigorating cocktail of nutrients and antioxidants. This energising formula is an essential early morning tonic that instantly awakens and brightens sleepy skin. Okay, so they've got the caffeine, which they've called energising for sleepy skin. They've got a hyaluronic acid one, which is hydrating for thirsty skin. Niacinamide clarifying for blemish prone skin. CBD nourishing for sensitive skin, and superfruit replenishing for lackluster skin. And this particular variety is cruelty free and vegan. So I picked up one of them because I thought, you know, my skin has been a bit, the dry parts of my skin have been super dry, so I thought wouldn't hurt, give it a spritz, see if it helps it at all. So yeah, I kind of bought that. And in case I can't get hold of those thin brow pencils again, I thought I'd try one of their micro brow pencils. And I've been intrigued by these eye glistens, which are foil and glitter eyeshadows. So I picked up one in shade Yours Truly, which is like a rose gold this end and a sort of champagne-y gold at this end glitter. I told you I went nuts and completely blew my low by. I'm not proud of myself, put it that way. I saw somewhere that their Renaissance lipsticks, shade Prime, is a bang-on dupe for Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk, which I have been wanting to try for some time, but I'm not paying that price that she wants just for a lippy. So I picked that up, and just to compound things even further, I picked up another bloody eyeshadow palette. This is the I Heart Revolution, and it is the Unicorn Makeup Pigment Palette, which looks like this and has little unicorns embossed in each of the pans. So I'm not proud of myself for breaking my low by. I am not proud in the slightest. However, having said that, I'm now going to try some of the items that I've purchased. I have turned the heat off in here, and yet it is still ridiculously hot. I do not understand it. Before you ask, no, it's not a hot flush. could be pain related though, I suppose. And apparently, another one of the symptoms of fibro is that we can't control our body temperature very well. Fabulous. Right, so this is the Revolution, what do they call it? Precise Brow Pencil in a dark brown. You get 0.0017 ounces or 0.05 grams. If that means anything to anybody. So twist up as you would expect. Nice fine line as you would expect. And the spoolie has its own cap to help keep it clean. I quite like that. Except then I do have the issue that I can never bloody remember which end is the spoolie and which end is the brows. So I might give that a go today, see what it's like. Put that there. I really want to try one of these two. I think as we've got St. Patrick's Day coming up, and last year I did very, very sort of like a green smoky eye. This palette has got one green in it, plus that white which has like a hint of green. So I think I might do a soft look. What's the description on the back of these? The description on Salut Paris is welcome to the city of light where the mood of romance is always in the air. A selection of 9 highly pigmented eyeshadows inspired by roses and chocolate, including velvet soft mattes with a buttery finish. And Hello New York is immerse yourself in the high-paced vibe of the city that never sleeps. Selection of 9 highly pigmented eyeshadows, mix of urban colours fitting the streets of New York, including holographic shades with a prismatic finish. It is not bloody holographic. It might be duochrome or even iridescent, but it's not bloody holographic. It's duochrome. That first one is a white with a shift to like a bluey lilac. Okay, it's annoyed me that they've called that holographic when it's not, so I'm definitely going to start with my Salut Paris. I have been chuntering for God knows how long and I haven't even put anything on my face yet. Let's get you zoomed in. I'm going to be very up close and personal by the time you are zoomed in, but as you can see, these have no names on them. I'm trying to tilt it so that my lights don't wash it. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to be very up close and personal when you come back. And I've basically, the swatches that I'm going to put up go top row, bottom row. Right, a little bit of housekeeping while you're looking at the swatches. My tutorials are aimed at all skill levels. So that means if you've never picked up a brush before, you can follow my tutorial as easily as if you are Jacqueline Hill. And because of my chronic pain, I also don't blend very quickly and regularly have to stop. So if you are an expert and you're finding I am going too slowly for you, by all means speed me up. Okay, quick slurp and then back to me. It's a silicone straw, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. My face has been washed, moisturised, SPF'd and primed. As you can see, I've got hyperpigmentation here and here, and a cluster of freckles here, and a cluster of freckles here, and ridiculously dark circles here. Fabulous. On my brows, or my lids rather, I have got Revolution Conceal and Define in shade C1, which I've set with Coty Airspun. Now, when I look straight ahead, you can see all of my mobile lid from inner to outer corner, so I don't have a hooded lid. If you do have a hooded lid, i.e. if you can't see that, you can still follow my tutorial. All you need to do, when I put the first row of colour down, I'm going to put mine pretty much right where the socket line is here. You can just put yours up a little bit and just create a mobile lid. Okay? Now, you know I'm going to go in with shade number 3, which is that green. And I'm going in with a Royal and Langnickel Chic Pro eyeshadow brush. There is a fair amount of kick up in the pan, I don't know if you can see that. That really doesn't worry me because it means you pick up a lot of pigment on the brush, and you can just go back in next time round and carefully pick up the kick up for the next stage. I am going to tap off a fraction into my colour switch. Finally got myself a new sponge. And I'm going to start off just by gently popping this just above my mobile lid, in a similar way to what I do when I'm using pressed pigments. But obviously I've set the lid so I can gently buff this backwards and forwards. I'm going to be interested to see how close to pan I can actually get this shade. So I'm going to pick up some more of this green. I'm wondering if this is the ideal brush for it, to be honest. I'll continue with it for the minute. I might have to get a slightly more densely packed brush to actually build. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to. Okay, I'm just going to use a dry piece of cotton just to get that off of the lid, and I am going to grab just going for a tapered crease brush. This is by Coastal Scents. Yeah, that's picking the colour up much better. I am going to be cutting the lid, so I'm not overly worried about getting colour on it at the moment. Probably just as well, really, eh? This green is going on, but if you can see, it's actually just clung just there and really doesn't want to blend out. Just go over it with my finger. This is the brush that I blended out the concealer with. Just going to see if I can get that more of the sort of colour that I'm looking for. There we go. Okay, right, I'm going to pause this, I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to start again with a non-set base. Don't think this light's working on a base that is set. So, see you instantly. Okay, you've probably realised this is a completely different day. And there is a reason for that. And the reason is my eye would not stop running. I took the original base off, the set base, where it's obviously one of those palettes that actually needs a non-set base to get a decent oomph. So I took the concealer off, put more concealer on, blended it out, started to record. My eye here just kept streaming and it kept changing the colour of the pigment I was putting in, so I'm just like, oh, do you know what? This ain't happening. So it's now, I think, 4 days later, 5 days later, St. Patrick's Day has been and gone. So I'm going to try again with this Salut Paris. And this time, I'm still going to go in with the green because I'm determined to see whether I can make it work. This time on my lids, all I have got is MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot in Soft Ochre, which, because it's yellow toned and I'm neutral to cool, what I have done is I tend to take it to about here, as you can see, and then blend it out so that at the top here there's not a huge amount of it showing. Otherwise, when I get my foundation on later, I'm going to have like a pink or a yellowy stripe across here. So, shall we start again? Right, I'm going to go with the Randomore Contour Brush number 9 because it is freshly washed. Hello, hello, film, can you just, yeah, do your job, camera. There we go. It is freshly washed, but as you can see, it's a little bit stained from previous pigments I've used. Happens. Right, so I'm going to go into that green shade again, and I'm going to tap off again, and I'm going to try placing it again. So I'm just going to, yeah, see straight away you can see that's got more colour to it. So I'm just going to pat that across the top here. If you've got hooded lids, just do this slightly higher up so you're creating a lid here. I really hope the neighbour's radio is not being picked up. I will do everything I can in post-edit to minimise the background noise, but it doesn't always work. Thankfully, I'm not monetised at the moment, so they can't demonetise me anyway. So I just don't want a copyright strike if someone picks up what the song is, you know. Right, so that's the kind of shape that I'm going for. I've been doing this quite a bit lately, and I actually quite like it. Don't know. Good Lord, man! I swear he's behaving like a 15-year-old left in the house on his own. I'm just going to bring this colour down this side here. Haven't decided yet if I'm going to do a halo eye or a spotlight eye or just a kind of a semi-cut crease. But I'll just bring this green down like so. And then what I'm going to do, now it's in place, I'm just going to do a tiny little bit of blending because I just want to see. The problem with this particular shade of green, and I've seen this with other palettes, is that very often when you start blending it, you can actually blend it completely away. And you can see it is actually fading quite a bit here, but then I usually struggle just here anyway because of the creasing to get pigment to stay. The rest of it seems to be okay, so I think that there is literally just my skin causing the issue. But straight away we can see I'm having a lot more success today than I was the other day. So this definitely needs a non-set base, and I've just found from experience with mine the stickiest base that I've got is actually the MAC paint pot. I believe Revolution now do a base like that as well, but I haven't tried it yet, so I can't tell you whether it's as good as the paint pot or whether you're best off just using concealer if you've not got a MAC paint pot available. I'd originally got the Painterly MAC paint pot because obviously pink toned, but bizarrely the Painterly one feels like it's a completely different consistency to the soft ochre. The Painterly one feels stiffer and it was more difficult to get it to blend out evenly across the lid. And with that one, I wasn't really seeing any additional benefit to using that over using concealer. So I ended up giving that to a mate of mine, Mrs. Duck. And then another mate of mine was having a clear out and gave me a bundle of bits and pieces, and in there was this soft ochre. And I thought, oh, just out of interest, I'll give it a try, see what it's like. And it's a completely different feeling. It's much softer, more buttery consistency than Painterly. But as I said, it is yellow based, so I do have to be very, very careful how much of it I use, and to blend it out really well at the top so that I don't suddenly get a jaundiced looking stripe across the top there. Because although from my St Patrick's Day video that I did upload, I went right up to my brows with it. Regular viewers will know, I beg your pardon, I've got a can of Pepsi today, and it's just, I'd forgotten how much Pepsi repeats on me, which is why usually if I'm going to have a cola, I'll have Coke. Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. Right, so I'm just going to use my colour switch to take the colour off of that. And I'm going to pick up this brush, which, again, it is clean. You can hear I'll show you, I'm going across my colour switch now. But greens and purples do stain, and it is due a deep clean. So, but there is no pigment coming off of the brush still, so that's okay. What I'm going to do, I think, I'm going to go into, do I want to use shade 2 or do I want to use shade 4? So this is shade 4 and this is shade 2. I think I'll go into shade 4. This is a much more tapered brush. This is tapered blending brush 6 in this set. And these brushes are the ones, if you go to my which brush sets I recommend, these are the AliExpress ones that I've got linked. So I'm going to start off doing the same thing, just tapping it, because I do struggle here and here because of creasing to actually get pigment to lay down. And what I'm doing when I'm popping this on, I'm kind of overlapping it just slightly with the green, because I want the two to blend really nicely together. And just give me a really soft blend out at the top here. Now, as you know, I normally leave a bit of a gap here. So what I'm going to do, I've used number 4 to about here. And just blending those two colours together, as you can see. I'm just going to clean off, I'm going to pick up some of number 2. And I'm just going to do this right on the edges and do really, really tiny little circles. Just to soften that edge slightly, but without adding a whole lot of colour, because I still want it to appear that there's a gap here. And this is a cream with like a very, very pale green tint to it. So it's perfect for just blending out and softening that top edge there. If you start to lose some of the pigment, then pick up some more of number 3 again. But actually I might use that to blend right the way across and lighten this up on the outer corner as well. And you can see from that it's really softened the whole look. If you compare the two eyes, it's really, really softened the look off and made it look more seamless, as John McLean would say. So I'm going to do the same this side, and I'm back in with number 4, which is the, it's like a mauvey taupe, I suppose. It's the kind of colour my skin goes when I burn, basically. So I'm just going to tap that on, because obviously it's still on a tacky base. So, like I said, tap it on initially and then gently blend where the two colours meet, just to soften the line there so there's no obvious break of where one colour starts and the next one stops, sort of thing. And then going in with shade number 2 and just really softening that edge and really, really blending and blurring that edge out, but without really adding any pigment to it. Obviously, if you've got a darker skin tone than me, this may show up against your skin, which is not an issue because it'll still give you the brightening effect at the top that leaving a gap on mine gives me. Okay, I'm just fortunate that I'm as pale as a pint of milk, basically. So I'm lucky most colours will show up on my skin. Okay, looks about even. I like a lot. Right, I've got a Sigma brush here. No, not a Sigma, it's a Luxie. It's a Luxie 205 tapered blending brush, and I got this in my Birchbox. Initially it went missing and they had to send me another one. This feels really soft, actually. Not as soft as my Royal and Langnickel, but very soft. So I'm going to go into I'm actually going to go into shade number 5, which is the brown. Yeah, I know, you're sounding shocked. I don't normally go for a brown. But I want to see how good this brown actually is at deepening up this outer corner here. But I don't want it to go on like I want it to be a gentle deepening. I don't want it to be very harsh. That's why I'm trying it first with this blending brush. Because normally at this point I'd be going in with a more tapered brush. So I'm just going to tap through about halfway along my crease there. And I'm blending that out because I only want to deepen it up a little bit. Just to give that little bit of extra depth. Now obviously I've actually followed my eye socket for my crease line here. If you've got hooded lids, remember what I said about with your eyes shut, draw a line above. So you do that just on that line rather than following the physical structure of your skull, which is obviously what I'm doing because I'm following the socket of my eye. I get that this is quite a soft, pastel-y, obviously, you know, Paris is the city of romance, apparently. So it's a very soft, pastel-y palette, but I do wish that this brown had a little bit more oomph in terms of adding depth, because at the moment I just feel like I'm blending the green away and not really getting a huge amount of depth to show for it. Let's grab a different brush. I'm going to grab this one. This is I got this one from Coastal Scents. This is one of their tapered blending brushes. I'm going to try going back into that brown again and just see if using a more tapered brush adds any more depth of colour. And really helpfully, at the moment, I'm really hoping it hasn't done it on the actual film, but on my viewfinder, everything looks like the 70s. It's all gone kind of yellow. Yeah, see, even that's not really adding a huge amount of tonal depth, is it really? Right, I'm going to go back in with that Luxie brush and just pick up a little bit of the green, because I feel like I've kind of buffed away a lot of the green, and I'm just going to bring some of that green back in because the brown really didn't do what I wanted it to. But as I said, this is why everything's done in real time, and I leave things like this in here so that you can see for yourself how easy the palette is to use. Now, obviously, this is clearly going to be, you're only going to get very, very pastel looks out of this. I don't think you're going to be able to build the colour up much beyond what you're seeing on me right now. So I do think if you're anything deeper than, I don't know, NC25, NC30, I think you might struggle to get this to show up on your skin. Alright, I'm going to go in with one of the shimmers. And I think I like those two actually. So I might try both of them, as you do. Right, I'm going to grab a little brush from back here. Recognise the handle? Yeah, it looks like Jeffree Star. AliExpress, super, super cheap. And I'm going to start by picking up shadow number 7. And initially I'm going to try applying this dry and see how it goes. I'm probably going to have to wet them to get any depth of colour, but let's just see how. Oh, okay. Maybe I don't have to wet them to get depth of colour. Okay, so while I'm not particularly impressed with the mattes, this shimmer has just almost rendered me speechless. That's performed so well for a dry shimmer. Okay, this side, because I've got this deep creasing here, I do have to stretch the eye out. Don't do this if you don't have to, otherwise you will cause yourself to have deep creasing like I have got, and I can assure you that creasing only gets worse as you age and more difficult to deal with. But unfortunately, if I don't do this, what happens is the shimmer kind of skips over the creasing, and then through the day, as I blink, I end up with like shimmer coming down my face, which is most frustrating, particularly when you don't particularly want a glittery cheek, because I don't always. Yeah, I know, that's a shock to you as well. So I'm taking this lighter one about halfway across the lid. I really can't get over how nicely that's gone on. I really was not expecting that. Okay, I'm just going to wipe this on the washcloth rather than use the colour switch, because where I've used quite dark colours there is a risk of the dark colour transferring onto this a little bit. Now I'm going to go into the last shade in the palette, shade number 9, which is the deeper shimmer. I'm just going to pop this, again this is dry, just going to pop this on the outer edge of the eye, and I'm going to flip the brush over to the side that hasn't got any pigment on it. I'm just going to really gently sort of buff over between the two. So obviously this is going to give you a very, very soft look. The mattes are not the kind, from what I've seen so far, that will build up to any magnificent depth. However, you know, for an everyday palette for work or for college, or you know, a nice sort of daytime spring look, I think if you can get hold of it, it's probably worth a go. if for nothing else, for these shimmers. I mean, you can see that's gone on really so easily as well. That's quite surprised me. Right, I'm going to go off camera and do my foundation and everything, and I'll be back to finish this look off. It's weird, in my mirror it does not look patchy, but in the viewfinder this bit here looks patchy. I'm hoping it's just the viewfinder. Right, I will see you instantly. Well, you'll see me instantly, I'll see you when I've done my face makeup. Yeah, okay. Time to pause the video, I think. Okay, I'm back. I am going to go into shade number 8, which is the mauve matte on the bottom row. I'm going in with my Spectrum A13 brush, which is a thick little stubby blender. I'm just going to run that just lightly under my bottom lashes. Yeah, this is definitely a soft look palette. You're not going to get dramatic looks out of this at all, I don't think. Not unless you wet the matte and then they're not. Because when my eye was streaming the other day, it did darken the green up, but it then had the subculture issue that it just wouldn't blend. It just stayed wherever you put it. So, yeah, I think if you're happy with softer tones and softer colours, and you want something like this for work, for example, then it's going to be perfect for you. I'm going to go back in with this one, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of the the lightest. It's like a satin rather than a shimmer. I'm just going to run that under the bottom row there. Just bottom row, bottom lashes. This is shade number 6, by the way. Just to give a bit of fun to the bottom there as well. Right, okay, well there aren't really any shades in here that I would use as a highlighter. So, this is super subtle. I shouldn't really go in with a powery highlighter, to be honest. Let's grab one of my more natural highlights, shall we? This is my Becca Light Chaser in Pearl Flashes Gold, and looks like this. Hopefully you can, if I do the mirror trick, I wonder if you can actually see. Yeah, see now it looks gold up here but more pinky down here, so that's the kind of effect that you get. This little brush is one that I've had for years, really cheap, just flat top brush that I got from eBay. But it's great for popping under the tail of your brow. You can see what I mean, this is a much more subtle highlight than the ones I usually use. But as we've gone for a more subtle eyeshadow, it feels appropriate. And I'm going to get a little bit more of this and just pop it around my tear duct. And I just like to bring it along underneath here and just meet up with the colour that I've put underneath my eye. I just find that for my eye shape that's the most flattering. If you've got hooded eyes, that may not work for you. It really does depend on the actual shape. I've got quite large almond shaped eyes, and this just makes them pop just that little bit more. Right, I'm going to go off camera and do my mascara and finish off with this highlight, bang a bit of lippy on, do something with my hair. I'll be back with my final thoughts, but you can probably guess what they are already. Right, hello, I'm back. As you can see, hair is just doing whatever the heck it wants to again. I went in with the Revolution lipstick in shade Prime, which is meant to be a bang-on dupe for Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk. This reminds me an awful lot of their Renaissance lipstick in Greatest. I've gone through about 4 of those now, but this has a more matte finish. Hang on. Right, so that's one I've got on now, that's Prime. And then this one is Greatest. Oh yeah, Greatest is slightly more pinky mauve toned. Don't know if that's picking up on camera. This is Prime, this is Greatest. So Greatest is a tad more satin finished, and this one, Prime, is more matte. And Greatest is a wee bit more pinky mauve toned, whereas this is much more brown neutral. I like it. Okay, so eyeshadow palette, what do I think? Initially, I wasn't overly keen on this, as you could probably tell from my reaction when it first started to go on my eyes. However, as always, I don't give up on palettes. I try numerous different methods, and it turns out that an unset base gives a much better result. However, you're still not going to get a real smack in the face, boom look from these shades. I must admit, I had hoped that these two here were going to be slightly deeper. I wish this brown were maybe a shade or two deeper, because I really wanted to use that to build up the V on the outer edge, and all it ended up doing really was blending the green away. So the shimmers in this are amazing. The fact they went on dry and still had that amount of impact. The shimmers in here are fantastic. The mattes take some working with. I mean, obviously you can see this look, perfectly acceptable, but you also know, if you're a regular viewer of mine, that this is not the kind of look that I normally go for. I like something that's got a lot more impact in terms of colours, in terms of finished look. You know, I mean, for me, in terms of depth of colour, I want something that's going to give me this amount of impact. Whereas this is very much a pastel palette. Having said that, I had also ordered, I suddenly realised the other day, when I broke my Brexit, or Brexit broke my lobo rather, I also ordered a pastel palette from Revolution. So it looks like I've got this one as a pastel palette as well, which I wasn't expecting to get. I mean, for you, if this is the kind of look that you like, then yeah, I'd say go for this. This was about, I think it was something like €6 or €7. So if you can get hold of it, then you know it works fine, as long as you use an unset base. There was negligible fallout down my face. Not a huge amount of kick up in pan, but you could pick pigment up on a brush. Laid down well on a set base, blended fine on a set, you know, on a non-set base rather. But as I said, you're going to struggle to get anything sort of deeper than this. And as I said before, if you are one of my more melanin enriched brothers and sisters, you're going to struggle to get this to show up at all. So, what do I think of the palette? To be honest, if I had to start my entire makeup collection all over again, I probably wouldn't pick this up. Simply because it just hasn't got the depth of pigment that I like. And from the photos on screen, it didn't appear to look like a pastel palette. Obviously this side here is very pastel, but when you look at these 5 colours, I thought, I don't know, although those are quite light, I can use those for highlights, I can use them for shimmers. I was really interested in that olivey green. These browns here intrigued me, as did these mauves at the bottom, or mauve, you're from America. So I was really hoping that these 5 shades here would give me the kind of pigment and the kind of depth that I want. Sadly it hasn't, but that being said, you know, it's a fair enough palette for the price. Would I buy it again? Probably not. Am I going to chuck it straight in the bin? No. Am I going to give it to a mate of mine? Quite likely. I'll probably have another play with it. I'll try a look using the mauves here rather than the green, see what sort of depth of shade I'm getting from that, but this is probably going to get passed on to a friend of mine. So, there we go. That is my final thoughts on the Salut Paris. I am really hoping now that the Hello New York, which admittedly looks a lot deeper, I really hope this is going to give me more pigment. I hope this isn't going to do the same as the other one, because I will be very disappointed if it does, because I'd much prefer the colour scheme in this one anyway. So, there we go. That's my final thoughts. If you want to get it, just know that you're going to get simple daytime looks. You're going to get, I mean, it'd be great for, you know, if you want to just chuck something on quick to do the school run or to go to college, or if your school lets you wear makeup, wear it to school. But for me, I can't see myself wanting to pick this up over all the other options that I've got. Right, hope you found that helpful. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could do all the usuals. I'm going to try and condense the end bit, you know, like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell, because YouTube seem to forget that if you subscribe to someone you actually want to watch them, you have to ring the bell and you have to then press it again and say, yes, I want all of the notifications. And even then, people are getting unsubscribed from the channel. So, you know, it seems like YouTube is doing everything it can to keep us micro channels micro. However, I hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this, I've got an awful lot of other tutorials you can watch, and tag videos, and palette reviews, and foundation reviews. And then when you finish watching mine, I've also got my beautiful sisters from the Beauty YouTuber Growth Group listed in my description box. And I'm sure they would be delighted to welcome you to their channels and check out some of their tutorials. Right, okay. I think that's me done. So all that remains for me to say, as ever, is you'll stay fabulous, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.